All righty. Happy Wednesday. It is Wednesday, right? Yeah, Wednesday, December 1st. Can you believe it? We are 31 days away from 2022, which is exciting and kind of crazy because, well, where the heck did the year go? It's crazy. Yeah, so hopefully you're doing well. Today, I'll kind of jump right in here and tell you what we're going to be talking about. We're going to be talking about something that I discussed with someone recently who was asking me about this whole niche properties thing, and I kind of broke it down and said, and as I was going through it, I was discussing, all of the things that it takes to make this happen. But really, how can you, even just if you didn't want to have a niche property to hold and collect the rent, as I say, and you just wanted to sell it, you wanted to build it to sell. I'm going to give you a little roadmap here today and how you can get to a $50,000 sale on that site or on that niche property, all the way up to 75,000, 100,000. I mean, you can take it as far as you want. We'll kind of go through the numbers and what it will take. But I'm going to kind of lay that out for you because, well, I was laying it out for him, and I thought it might make a good episode here. So that's what we're going to be doing. Guys, do me a quick favor. Let me know in the comments if you can hear and see me okay, all of that good stuff. Also, let me know, are you right now, are you building a niche property, or are you just in the research phase as far as, I'm not sure if I want to go down this road. I don't know if I want to put in the work. Maybe something else has your attention. I'm just curious. Are you a niche property builder currently? I would like to know. Let me know that. All right, so let's go ahead and look at the comments real quick, and then we're going to go ahead and kick this off while I take a sip of tea this morning. I decided to switch it up. I'm doing coffee first thing and then tea my second cup. Playing around with that and seeing how that feels. So let's go ahead and see. What's up, Salma? Going to be okay, cool. All good. Good and live. Just started building, 3 articles in. Well, that's awesome. Sale dog. That's amazing. Awesome. Great job. Let's see. Awesome. Okay. Good morning, Scooby Life. Karen, good morning. Always a pleasure to see you. And anyone that is here that is part of our Brand Creators Academy, we've got a call this afternoon. So just a little reminder for you guys. We've got our call at 3 p.m. Eastern time, which we're going to be going over some cool stuff coming up in 2022 for our niche properties class, and also for the Brand Creators Academy. So pretty cool stuff. Got some cool stuff that we're going to be rolling out here. All right, cool. So let's go ahead and do this. And if anybody else, Karen says be there. Awesome. Yeah, if anybody else would drop in there, if you're currently right now building a niche property, drop it in the comments down below. I'd love to see that, whether you're on a replay or not. Okay, so let's go ahead, and I'm going to pull up my notes here real quick. And also, just to keep you guys in the loop here, Chris Schaefer and I are actually, we're going to hop on a call here pretty soon. We're going to be doing a workshop where we're going to be breaking it down, actually, on what I'm going to share with you here today. But we're going to go a little bit deeper, and we haven't done one of these in a long time. So we're going to be doing one to kind of get everyone set up for the first of the year. All right. So just keep an eye out for that. All right. So so the roadmap to build and sell a niche property for $50,000 to $80,000 in 12 months. That's what I'm going to be covering here today on this episode, because this is going to be recorded and we're going to include it on the podcast. All right. So let's go ahead and get rocking and rolling. Here we go. Hey guys, welcome back to another episode. And today I am fired up because, well, depending on when you're listening to this, it is going to be just before 2022. It's kind of crazy to even say that. Or if you're listening to this after, well, welcome to 2022. And this will help you because today I'm going to be breaking down the roadmap to build and sell a niche property for $50,000 to $80,000 or more in 12 months. And I'm going to share with you what the numbers look like, what the plan is, what the strategy is, and really how you can outsource like 90% of this. This is something that I have been focusing on now for the last, 12 to 18 months, really. Well, I'd say probably 12 months that I went all in, and I've got multiple sites being built right now. Some of them are at different stages. And so I wanted to share with you what that breakdown is, because some people that are tuning in are like, Scott, I don't really want to build something and kind of hold it, and it makes, I don't know, $800, $1,000 a month, $1,500 a month. Like, that's all nice and everything, but I'd like to maybe cash that thing out, which a lot of people don't realize. When you build this, it's a piece of digital real estate. Let me say that one more time. This is a piece of digital real estate. And what I mean is when you build something that has a consistent revenue stream coming in, you can sell that. And there's a lot of buyers out there. I mean, there's sites that go up on like Motion Invest or the Investors Club or Empire Flippers or Quiet Light Brokerage, like all of these sites that are usually under $300,000 usually sell within hours. Depending again on how well the site is built and what type of traffic, what type of niche, like all of those things. But if you have a site that's doing 50,000, or I'm sorry, that's doing $1,000 or $1,500 a month, you can sell that thing pretty quickly as long as you've built it properly, which we'll talk about. But they go so quick, and I know this because I'm always on the look for purchasing some myself. Like, I'm always on the look for for buying a piece of digital real estate that I can either buy and hold and maybe fix it up, kind of like if you were to buy and sell a house, right? And fix it up and flip it, make some quick cash. Like that's always something that we can do. But so some people might be might be saying to themselves, I just want to build something over the course of the next year or two, and I want to cash it out for $50, $75, or $100,000. And sometimes that's, I mean, for a lot of people, that's like college education for their kids, right? So that's why I wanted to break this down and go through what this looks like, what I am going to be following. And the crazy thing is that when you start to go through this process, you're going to start to see that there's probably multiple niches that you could do this in, right? And that also becomes a problem at times because then you want to do all of them. I do recommend you learn it by doing it on one or building one niche property for starters. And then from there, decide if you want to do it again, because you will start to spread yourself thin. Because if you're doing all of the work yourself, there's only so much you can do. All right. I probably should have mentioned this too. If you are interested in building one of these, you can head on over to buildnicheproperties.com. Again, that's buildnicheproperties.com. We have a full class there, and you can check it out there. And we'll go through all of the steps and the nitty gritty. So check that out if you are interested. All right. So let's kind of get into this. All right. Now, the outcome in order to get to the $50,000 mark is going to be around $1,200 a month. Okay. So we need to be able to get this niche property, this site, to generate $1,200 per month. And we also need that to be consistent over 6 months. Okay. Now, some brokers like it to be longer. A lot of times it's better if it's longer because you can get a higher multiple. But right now, the sweet spot is around 42 times that. All right. Now, if you've ever sold a physical product business, which I have, the multiples are different, and there's a lot more variables because you have supply chains, you have product inventory, you have a lot of other things that come into it. And when you're going through that sale, a lot of times it's a lot longer. I like right now to focus on sites that are $100,000 or less that would be sold because they're easier transactions. A lot of times people are going to pay you cash. It's like a cash offer. There's no SBA loans. There's none of that stuff. Really, really simple to do, okay, for that transaction. So, I mean, really all you have is your hosting, and your, credentials to get into your WordPress. And basically that's it. If you have an affiliate account somewhere, you might have to transfer that over, but that's basically it. You don't have to do any of the other stuff, which is really, really cool. So the outcome is to really make $1,200. That's the initial goal, is to get it at $1,200, because if we do, and we do the math here, 42 times is $50,400. Okay. So $50,400 is what you could potentially sell that for. Now, depending on the site itself, you might only get, I don't know, 38x on that because maybe your traffic has dropped or dipped, or maybe the site has links that are pointed to it that are negative links, or maybe it is a seasonal site, right? So there's some things that will change that multiple. Maybe you have an email list that might bump it up. Maybe you have some Pinterest traffic on top of your Google traffic that might bump it up, right? So there's ways to get that multiple even higher. And I've seen them as high as 48x. And I think that they're actually going up because it's becoming even more common to buy these. Okay. There's actually companies out there that are just buying these sites as a portfolio. So they're going to buy yours just as one site to add to the portfolio. And then they have a team that will build it out even bigger. Okay. So the cool thing is we can sell this or we can hold it. So if you got it at $1,200 a month and you're like, okay, cool. I'm going to sit here and kind of keep it there or try to grow it a little bit, maybe get it to 2,000. Well, then we can take that same site, if you waited and built it a little bit further, and we've just doubled what we could get for it, right? So if we went from 1,200 and we doubled that to 2,400, we can get over $100,000 for that same site. And a lot of times it's just the traffic, or maybe it's the content and it just needs a little bit longer to get indexed, or or maybe you have another traffic source that's starting to build. So that can very easily happen because the way that we are monetizing this and the way that I would recommend monetizing this is through an ad network. That's why I love this model. An ad network, meaning Mediavine, Ezoic, AdThrive, those are just the three main ones out there. There's other ones. There's AdSense, but those are the three. And when we get on a platform like that, it's literally just getting the traffic, turning on the ad networks, and then everything else is kind of done. Like you're getting paid for the ad impressions. That's it. Okay. And every niche is different. And we'll talk about that here in these steps on how you can actually make this work. All right. So now a lot of times people are looking at affiliate offers. I'm not a huge fan of Amazon affiliate stuff, really because you're limited, okay, on what you can earn. It's usually about 2 to 3%, depending on what category. And I mean, they can just randomly reduce that, which they've done in the past. They cut it in half. There's a guy I know right now that was making about $300,000. He got cut in half, $150,000. He got cut. Okay. Pay cut. Okay. Now, can that happen with an ad network? Yeah, you're going to have different times of the year that you're going to get better ad impression. You're going to get paid for those, but it's not going to be like where it's going to get cut in half necessarily for the entire year. Okay. So with an affiliate offer, I would like to go more private and find someone or a company that is offering one for 10% or 15%. And that's stuff that we can do later if we want as well. But if we just shoot for the traffic numbers that will yield a good RPM or a per thousand that we get paid, that's all we got to focus on. And that's the business model. And then there's people right now like me that are wanting to buy these that are good sites that show good growth and also opportunities to grow them even further. All right. So that's the main number that I'm looking at here to get to the $50,000 sale. Okay. So let's kind of go through the steps here. And there's 5 different steps. All right. And I'm going to cover these. I'm going to go into a little bit of detail, but not too much detail. Okay. Just because it's not important right now. It's understanding what it will take. And then from there, figuring out those pieces in between, which are not hard, by the way. All right. So step number 1 is we need to choose a niche that gets good RPMs, which is basically your payment for 1,000 impressions. Okay. And now there's, let's see, Ezoic, I believe, bases it off of sessions. Mediavine is off of sessions. And then I think AdThrive does it off of page views, but they give you different ratios on how that works. But a session is basically one person coming to the site and landing on a page and then maybe seeing another page, but a page view could be that same person, okay, goes into 10 different pages. That's page views. That's what you would get paid by. A session is that one individual. And so it's a little bit less. You don't need to worry about that right now. But what you do need to worry about is picking a good niche that does have good RPMs. Now you might be asking, Scott, how do I know what that is? That is a great question. When I first started this, I didn't know what it was or what was a good niche, because now that I've been at it for a while, it's kind of like being in real estate. You start to see like, oh, that market over there, that area over there doesn't get good rent, right? Because it just, I don't know, maybe has a lower income over in that area, or maybe it's just not as desirable in that area. But you go over here to this area, rents are a lot higher. It's the same idea. Over time, as you're doing this and you're in the world of building digital real estate, you start to hear or see and really start to understand what a good RPM is. And again, if I'm throwing out like these terms and stuff, it's not really a big deal to understand everything right now. All that you really need to understand is for every 1,000 sessions, or let's just call it impressions, you will get paid anywheres. And usually I'm looking for something between $15 on the low end, upwards of $35 on the high end. Now, there's in some cases it could be lower than 15, in some cases it could be higher than, 40, $50 even, okay? It just does depend, and it depends on the ad network, okay? But usually if we're looking at some core markets or some core niches, we're going to be okay. The one that we were in that we sold, that one is where I kind of got the idea of really what this whole ad revenue thing was, which got me all excited because I was like, wow, we've got this traffic and we're not selling any product. All we're doing is displaying ads and we're getting paid $4,000 or $5,000 per month. It was crazy. So that was my eye-opening experience there. But then I learned about that niche and about that market. So just to kind of throw a few out there, anything usually hobby related is good. Okay. Anything hobby related is usually good. I usually try to stay away from anything medical, anything that has a high liability, or even just is kind of like risky. I wouldn't do anything in poker and gambling and things like that. Would stay away from that. Home improvement has been doing well for RPMs. Like I said, crafts and things like that, or even recipes, they've done good. So there's a lot of opportunity in hobbies or just the normal day-to-day stuff that we do. Okay. Automotive is another good one. Now I'm not saying go into these niches. I'm just giving you ideas of what you could look for. Okay. But in the very beginning, if you're getting super, super, super niche, then it probably won't get a good RPM. And then sometimes you just got to do it and then find out what it is once you turn on the ad networks. And sometimes an ad network that wasn't giving you a good return, you go to a different ad network and theirs is better. Okay. So for an example, we have one niche that we turned on Ezoic, and it was literally only like $4 or $5 per 1,000. It was bad. We switched to another ad network, and now that thing is doing anywhere from $20 upwards of $35, all from just switching ad networks. It's insane. So you can't always say that just because one person or one site didn't do well, it could have been the ad network too. But we do need to identify what that is. All right. So that's number one, picking a good niche. All right. Number two is we need to build a website. And we don't need to build a complicated website. This is another place where people get hung up. The simpler, the better. So we use GeneratePress. Generally, we're testing a couple other themes right now because speed is important. It's an issue for sites that aren't ranking well, is because a lot of times they're not passing the Google core, and then they're also not getting a good speed. It's taking a long time to load, which we don't want that. GeneratePress has been pretty good, but we are testing out something new right now, and I'm not going to share it yet because I'm not sure it's going to work. But the one we're using on GeneratePress works well. Very, very simple, lean theme, and just a basic logo. That's it from Fiverr, and that's it. That's all that you need. So hosting, and then you need your theme, and you need a logo. That's it. That's all you need. Okay, so when you think to yourself, well, I have to build this big, complicated website. No, you don't. You don't even have to have a home page, because you're not ranking the website. You're ranking pages or posts. Remember that. You're not ranking the website. You're ranking posts, pages, or either or. Okay. That's what you have to understand. That's why we want to create a lot of content, because that's more real estate out there that can bring traffic over to our website. So the second thing is building the website, our home base. You want a domain name. GoDaddy, logo, Fiverr, hosting. You can use any of them. I mean, HostGator, Bluehost. I think that's it. What's the other one? I don't know. There's a bunch of them out there. You just want something that's dependable, and you can always switch host as well. And then WordPress, you want to use WordPress. That's it. That's the build. Okay. And if you don't know how to do that, guess what? You can hire that up on Fiverr too for like probably $30. So not hard to do. So that's the second thing. The third step is for the first 6 months. So 1 month to 6 months. And this is my strategy. This is what we're doing. Is I want to publish 100 articles and completely info articles, meaning I'm not going to be doing product reviews. I'm not going to be doing any of that stuff yet. Now, if you want to sprinkle that stuff in, you can, but I'm going after info. Like, can you catch bass at night? Can you catch bass with rubber worms? Those types of info, right? Just question-based type posts. I'm going to want to do 100 of those. Now, you might be saying, Scott, that's a lot. That's 4 articles a week. Pretty much. How am I going to do that? Well, you can either write them yourself, and yes, that's going to take you time, but once you get good at it, you'll probably be able to knock them out. And if not, then you're going to have to hire a writer to do that. And I've found writers all over, like all different places. I've done them on I've tried Fiverr, not that great on Fiverr, iWriter, Upwork, FreeUp, all different places like that, right? And once you get 1 or 2, that's all you need if you're only doing one site. And you can get them between $35 and $40. That's generally what we're paying them. Now you might be saying, Scott, that's going to cost a lot of money for 100 articles. Yeah, but you're building something that you're going to potentially make monthly revenue and sell, maybe, right? So we'll go over the numbers here at the end. So just stay tuned. So here's the one little side note I will say is during that process, the 1 to 6 month mark, and I'm publishing those articles, I'm going to wait until I hit about 5,000 page views or sessions before I turn on Ezoic. Now, Ezoic, the reason why I'm using Ezoic in the beginning is because Ezoic doesn't have a threshold. They don't make it where you have to have 50,000 sessions. Now, Mediavine does, and so does AdThrive. AdThrive is like 100,000. So you want to start off on Ezoic, which is fine, and then see how that goes. But I would wait until I get about 5,000 page views because then I know that I'm being indexed by Google. I've got no speed issues. I've got none of that stuff, nothing that's kind of weighing the site down. And I'm just optimizing that content. And I think within 6 months, we can get to that 5,000 pretty easily, actually. So 1 to 6 months, 100 articles, all info. Okay. Now, the fourth step, the fourth part of this is the 6th to 12th month. Okay. Now, this is where we're going to be able to see what content is working and then do more of that. Now, this is where we can also sprinkle in some product-based posts. Now, I should also say that if you found an affiliate offer or a product or products or a company, and you want to start writing some posts around that because it's a good affiliate relationship and they have a good, payout or commission, then go for it. Sprinkle some of them in. But I would still make sure that I'm doing like 80-20. Like I wouldn't want to go any more than 20% as far as product-based post, and the 80% would be the info post. But I'm primarily right now, we're doing like 90-10 right now. So that's what I would do there. I would look and see what is doing well, and then do more of that, right? Start drilling into that when you're doing topic research or keyword research. All right. And then in that period of time, another 100 articles. So that would be 200 articles, 200 pieces of content in 12 months. And by that time, depending on how everything goes, we could be at our 30 to 50,000 page views. And the reason why I'm using that number is because I know from experience that if I get to 30 to 50,000 page views or sessions, I'm going to generally be around $1,000 to $1,200 in ad revenue. Okay. So that's my target. Target is traffic because I know that that will in turn bring in $1,000 to $1,200. If I hit that, I can literally turn around and sell that site for $50,000. Okay. Now, is that going to happen every time? No. Are there going to be things that might not work as well? Yes. Do you have things that could take off and be like these huge winners? Yes. Because it's 200 pieces of content, right, over a year. Now, the fifth thing, and this is step number 5 in this process, in this little roadmap, is then I'm going to evaluate and decide what's next. I'm not going to say right now what I'm going to do because I don't know. I'm not there yet. Same thing is with the first month to the 6th month. I'm not going to decide the 6 to 12 month content strategy yet because I'm not there yet. Because I'm going to look back and I'm going to see what worked and what didn't work, and what Google liked that I posted because they ranked me quicker or whatever. And then I'll go more in that direction. Okay. So that's what we want to do. But in 12 months, I'm going to evaluate and decide what's next. And the goal, like I said, is to get to 30 to 50,000 page views and $1,000 to $1,200 per month. That will get me to where I could sell this for $50,000 if I choose to. By that time, I might say, you know what? I'm going to do it for another year and try to double it or triple it and triple my sale price, right? That's the other thing that we can do. So let's go over the cost breakdown real quick. So the website build and hosting is under $100. Okay. I mean, we have the domain name, which is like $10 a year. You can even find a deal a lot of times on GoDaddy for like $1.99 for your first domain. So that's that. Your generate press is like, I think it's free, but if you want to do the premium, which has just got some custom block and stuff like that you can do, it's like $50 a year. And then you have your hosting, which you can get usually for $3-4 a month. So what's that? Let's just call that $50 for the year. And then you have a logo for like $20. So it's like $100, right? To basically start something that you could sell. Okay. If you wrote all that content yourself, you could literally sell that thing. Okay. Or hold it as a piece of rental property. Now, if you don't want to write that content, like I do not want to write all that content, I'm going to hire that out. And that's going to vary depending on your writer cost. And if we did the 200 articles, that's going to be between $7,000 and $8,000. Now, I know a lot of people that are buying their first product to sell on Amazon and buy 1,000 units at $5 a piece for $5,000, right? That's one product, hoping that thing takes off. We're talking about investing in a piece of digital real estate that if we do it properly, which it's really kind of hard to screw it up because we are throwing a whole bunch out there at the wall to see what sticks. But we're investing in this digital real estate. It's like building a house, right? That's what we're doing. And so let's just say that we're $10,000 all in. Okay. If this is a big if you don't write the content yourself, or maybe you want to write half the content yourself and hire the rest out. Totally up to you. Okay. Me personally, I'm going to invest in writers and I'm going to do very little of the work, only things that I want to do, which is usually is going to be the keyword research. That's usually what I do. I usually find the niche and then investigate that and do all my research there, validation. And then the other thing that I work on once we're building is the keyword research. That's it. That's all that I'm focusing on. That's what I enjoy doing. That's what I want to spend my time doing. That's it. Okay. Now, with this being said, I wanted to add another little thing here. There's other ways to add revenue here. We're just talking about an ad network. That's all we're talking about. Maybe you create a digital product and you add a digital product to the mix, which, by the way, if you do that, your multiple will probably go up because now you have another thing that you can sell and offer. Maybe it's multiple ebooks or something. Maybe it's a Kindle book. Maybe it's something like that. Or maybe you do something that's print on demand because your market is, maybe, a fisherman that likes to show that they're a proud fisherman or that they're a bass fisherman or whatever, right? Maybe you create a Teespring account and you start selling those. So there's a lot of other ways that you can do it once you get the traffic. But the simple way of doing it is get the traffic, turn on the ad network, and call it a day. Just keep building that traffic. So let's just kind of go through those numbers again. This could do better though. I'm going after like 30 to 50,000. What if we do page views between 60 and 100,000 and we get to $1,500 to $2,000 a month? Now we can sell it for between 63,000 and 84,000 at a 42x return. Okay. Just because we increased the traffic because our content did better than we thought. Okay. And again, sometimes it builds momentum on itself. All right. So again, you have to get started on this thing, but this is what the roadmap looks for me. I'm going all in on these, at least for the upcoming year. And I talk a lot about, like, we have different seasons in life. Like, 5 years ago, I was hard and heavy into, physical products, doing the private label stuff. And it worked great while I was doing it. And then I decided, well, you know what? I'm going to change here a little bit. I'm going to do more about brand building. And then I discovered building these niche properties that are built for digital real estate only, in a sense. But you could always add one of these to a physical product business, right? If you have a physical product business and you add this, which we did do, this is how I discovered this whole thing, by the way, is I had a physical product brand, and then we added the content, and then we found out that the content was driving traffic and revenue, which was selling more of our physical product. But then the revenue that was coming in from Ad Thrive was starting to become substantial. I think our best month was like almost $6,500, or maybe even a little bit more. It was close to $7,000. And then it kind of leveled out to where we'd have months where it was like 3,800, and then maybe 4,200, maybe 5,300. So it varies through the year, but on average, let's just call it $5,000 a month. Man, that was an eye opener for me. Then I said, well, wait a minute. What if I stripped out the physical product side of things? Because, having inventory and, dealing with supply chain, all of that stuff didn't really seem interesting to me anymore. It was kind of a drag. And I said, what if I just focused on this other thing where it's content? And then all of a sudden I started finding out that people are buying these websites and building them just to sell these websites. I said, maybe I'll get into that because, well, I understand it and I can do it. And I can also have other people help me do it. And that's kind of where I came up with this whole niche properties thing for myself. This is what works for me right now. Okay. And that's what I'm going to be focusing on for the upcoming 12 months. So I talked about this in the very beginning. Like, we want to think about what we're going to do moving forward. And maybe this is something that you're interested in. Maybe not. If it's not, focus on something that you're interested in. If you're, sold on doing a physical product business and selling on Amazon, go for it, but go all in on that. Okay. I don't want to see you get distracted with this model. But if it is something that interests you and something that you say, you know what, I could put the time and effort in and give it a 12-month try and see what happens. And who knows, maybe you look back 12 months from now and you're like, wow, I've got this digital asset that's making $1,000 a month and I learned a ton, and now I can sell that thing if I want to. So totally up to you. But I did want to break this down for you. I will recap here real quick what those 5 steps are. So number 1, we got to choose a niche that gets good RPMs, also that gets good traffic. 2, we have to build the website, our home base, domain name, logo, hosting, and WordPress. That's it. That's all it takes to do that. The third thing is, or the third step here is, in the first 6 months, we are going to want to publish 100 articles, preferably 4 per week. We can either hire that out or we can write them ourselves. And then step 4, and that's months 6 through 12. That's going to be really evaluating what content worked well and then do more of that and produce another 100 articles. And then the 5th step here is the 12-month mark. And that's where we're going to evaluate and decide what's next. Okay. What has worked good? What hasn't worked good? Do we want to continue building this thing out? Are there other ways that we can dial up the traffic or dial up the revenue? And then from there, if we are at our 30 to 50,000 page views, we should be making between $1,000 and $1,200 per month or more. And then we can decide if we want to hold it or if we want to sell it. All right. So guys, that is what I wanted to share with you. The roadmap to build and sell a niche property for $50,000 to $80,000 in 12 months. And that's it. Those are the steps. Once again, if you're interested in building one of these, I do have a class. It is called, it's called Niche Properties Class, but you can go to buildnicheproperties.com. You can get all the information there, and I'll walk you through every single step along the way, every single part of the build, the process, all the different stages, and really walk you through what we're doing on a regular basis. So if you're interested, buildnicheproperties.com. Guys, thanks so much for hanging out with me here today. Hopefully, this is giving you something to think about. And if you are interested, I would love to help you build yours in 2022. Guys, take care, take action. I'll talk to you soon. Cut. All right, guys, that's the official end of that. Do we have any questions here? We do. Let's see. Okay. Atlanta in the house. I'm not getting any notifications. Yeah, I don't know about Facebook. I don't know what they're doing. I'm super interested, but I would need to only do the most important task and outsource everything else. I work lots of hours and my blog is priority. Yeah, you have to figure out what that priority is, and if it's something that you do feel as though you want to do, just set up a system or a process so you can do it every single week. It's like anything. If you put, if you put in the time and effort, then you're going to make out all right. The thing is if you don't have systems and processes in place, it can get overwhelming. And then that's where it becomes, not fun. And we don't want that. What do you think about Mediaverse and how it is to drive the Google, Facebook, Instagram in the near future? There are a lot of changes going on driven by Apple. Yeah, I'm not quite sure on what you mean, Derek. 100%. I do know that there's always a lot of changes, and there's going to be changes to Google. But what I do know is that right now, and I believe going into 2022, content is still going to do well, and content that is created with the searcher, the user in mind, that gives them exactly what they're looking for. And also that you are not trying to game the system. And that's an important one, because a lot of people are going to not be patient and they're going to try to game the system, because there's always people that are out there teaching how to game the system. The problem with that is you're probably going to do some black hat stuff, which could get your site penalized. And then you could have traffic one day and the next day it's all gone. We don't want that. So you are going to have dips and valleys in anything. But I personally believe that if you just stay head down, focus on the content, focus on it being good, optimized, posting on a regular schedule, I think all of that other stuff isn't really going to matter. That's just my personal opinion. Okay, so Tom asks 30 to 50,000 page views over what time period? That'll be in a month. So that's a 30-day window. So we got to get to 1,000 views or visits per day. That's really what your target is, 1,000. And it can happen. It totally can happen. Right now, we're doing another experiment, which we've talked about on the podcast. And I posted it on the blog, brandcreators.com. If you just look up 1K case study, I believe it is. And we just purchased a site with an expired domain, which is basically a site that's been out there for a long time. And then it expired, and it has a lot of history to it, a lot of good backlinks, legal and like good backlinks, because they were, organic. And then we've started publishing content on it. And I invested $9,000 in this project, and there's over, 70 articles on there right now. And right now I'm just kind of letting it sit, kind of marinate a little bit, and we'll see what happens. But the goal is to get it to 1,000 sessions per month. That's the initial target. And then once we do that, that's 30,000 at the minimum for the monthly. That's what we're looking for. Let's see. Should we be concerned about the new changes happening with Mediaverse? Yeah, again, Derek, I'm not too familiar with that, but I think today we can talk about that today on our Brand Creators Academy call, and we can ask Chris Schaefer about that. I'm sure he'll have some thoughts. Let's see. Competitive niche with high RPM versus less competition and low RPM. Which one would you do? I don't think it really matters on the competitiveness. I think you can always find an angle in for the most part. But what I would say is I would rather, if it's competitive, it means probably you're really broad. So I would try to narrow it down so we're not so broad in the beginning, so I can start to get some of that low hanging fruit traffic. And then I would start to kind of broaden it out. But I wouldn't go after something that was low competition, because that means that it might not have a lot of traffic either. I'm not saying it has to have a lot of competition, but you do want to do that validation process that we've shown you in the past. And if you're in Brand Creators Academy, or if you're in Niche Properties class, you've been through that, or you have access to that. When do you do 30 articles and forget it versus writing 100 to 200? So Salama, I think what you're talking about is if you just want to season a domain and kind of let it sit. We have one site that we did that with, and we didn't do it intentionally, but now I am going to start doing it intentionally, where I discovered the niche. I built everything on the home base. I had 13 articles created, and I let it sit. Not even 30 articles. I just put 13. No rhyme or reason. I just put 13 and I let it go. And a year later, I started getting some domain authority, and it's doing about 2,500 visitors per month on just those 13 articles. Now what I'm doing is I'm starting to add content there every single week. and at the tune of between 5 and 7 articles every single week. And we're already seeing this thing shoot up as far as indexing. We're getting a lot of indexing, which means that traffic is right behind that. So I'm curious to see how that does, but I think that's what you're talking about. If you do not think you have the time to commit to this fully, then just do that, right? Build it, put some content on it, and let it sit for 6 to 12 months. Come back to it when you're ready and start really working on it. The only way this is going to work, though, is if you actually consistently work at it. It's like anything. You have to put some time in. You got to put some effort in. It's not a get rich quick thing at all. What's up, Karen? Good morning to you. Let's see. Yes, Tom, 1 month. Oh, okay. So Troy wants to know, you still plan on doing a course on buying expired domains? Yeah, Troy, it's not going to be a course. We're just going to do a little, we'll do a little training inside of Brand Creators Academy. And yes, we will be doing more on that. To be quite honest with you, Troy, there's not a lot to it. And that's why I'm not going to be going out and identifying how to find expired domains. I'm really looking at services that provide good value, a good evaluation or a good validation that these are good domains. And yes, we will be doing more of that. And that'll be coming in 2022. But right now, Troy, I know what you got going on. I would keep doing what you're doing. And I do want to reconvene on the site that we looked at that we think there was a little bit of an issue technically. So I would like to keep my eye on that for a little while because you have a good start there. Giselle, I was going to do a physical product, but didn't just want to sell stuff. Being a teacher, offering information is what I do. So this is perfect. I'm all in. Awesome, Giselle. I'm so glad to hear that. Okay, cool. Yeah. So, hi, Scott. Can you elaborate on how to integrate a physical product site with a niche property? Do you just link to the physical product site in the article copy itself? Yeah, that's basically what you would do. But think about it this way. If you sell bass fishing gear, then you want people that are interested in bass fishing. So your content that you're creating is about bass fishing, not about your products all the time, right? Now you can sprinkle in some of your product stuff and do a product review. You could do, why you need certain types of poles, whatever, right? You can do all that stuff. What we're looking for is I want to basically get a group of people that are interested in this market, in this niche, because then my products align perfectly with those people. So that's all that we're really doing. The byproduct of this is now, if we get this traffic, we can also turn on an ad network and immediately turn that into an additional revenue stream, right? But yes, the way that you would do that is anytime that you're mentioning something in an article, even if you're writing an info, let's say, for example, you're writing a post on what's the best time to catch bass in a pond. You might reference different equipment or different bait, and you might sell bait. You might sell rubber worms or lures or something. When you mention it, just hyperlink over to your product, just passively, because people are going to see that that's a link and they're going to be, oh, I'm curious. Boom, click over. And then they might buy that because why? They're interested in bass fishing. And you said in that article something about a lure or these types of lure or purple lures or whatever. And then that would link them over to your product. So that's how you would do it. And by the way, if you do have a physical product and you bolt one of these on, your multiple will definitely go up. If you want to reach out to Quiet Light Brokerage, ask Joe Valley. He'll tell you. If you have external traffic that's feeding into your physical products, it's going to bring up your multiple for sure. And the other cool thing is then you can build an email list, and then that email list, you can tell them about new content. And when you tell them about new content, you can also put in the PS, oh, by the way, we're having a special this coming weekend or whatever. A lot of cool things you can do there too. So that's what I mean by building a niche property along with a physical product. Okay. Because a lot of times what people are doing is they're building the niche property and they're creating content for other people's products. You're basically just going to be creating content that will drive people to your products, which is kind of cool. I would steer away from anything COVID related because it will get you banned. Yes, I would too, for sure. So, all right, guys, that's going to wrap up this Wednesday edition of our Coffee Talk. Once again, if you guys are interested in building a niche property, buildnicheproperties.com. Also, Brand Creators Academy is where we do a lot of ongoing training. And I've got something really, really exciting that we're going to be rolling out for our Brand Creators Academy members, and something potentially that will be offered to the public. So something new, something we're going to test, and that will be happening in the next month and a half. So keep an eye out for that. But yeah, guys, if you have any other questions, drop them in the comments. And I might be doing a free training also before the first of the year. So stay tuned. Again, stay here or jump on my email list, takeactioncrew.com. If you go to takeactioncrew.com, you can put your name and email address, and you'll be part of the email list. You'll also be able to get some past coffee talks there, which go a little bit deeper. All right. So that's it, guys. Have an awesome, amazing day. And I will be back here Friday for our Friday jam session. If you have any questions for me, drop them in the comments, and I'll do my best to answer them, or maybe even on our Friday jam session. All right, guys, take care, take action. Talk to you soon. Bye, guys.